Greetings, Butterfly Tribe, and welcome back to The Way You See Me Heart Healing Ministry. Today we're going to resume with healing childhood trauma, ages 10 through 13, the middle school years. I'm going to open with a scripture, Psalms 139, starting at verse 13. It is written, "For you possessed my kidneys. You have covered me in my mother's womb. I give thanks to you, for I am awesomely and wondrously made. Wondrous are your works, and my being knows it well. My bones were not concealed from you when I was shaped in a hidden place, knit together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body, and in your book all of them were written, the days they were formed, while none was among them." May Yahuwah add a blessing to the readers, hearers, and doers of his set apart word. I wanted to open up with that scripture to make certain that we all know that the days of our lives were numbered before the foundation of the earth was ever laid. Everything we see was thought out and seen before the foundations of the earth were laid. The blueprints were laid. We were known by name before our parents even named us. He knit us together in the womb. He saw us in the secret place. He knows the number of every hair on our head. He knows every day, and they're written in the book. That book was written before the foundations of the earth. So nothing in our lives catches the Most High off guard. He knew the things that would come about because of the consequences of others' actions and our own actions. He knows how it all is going to play out, which is why I'm so certain about my faith, because he gave us the outcome already. We know already that we win, that those who trust and believe in him, those who are in the Messiah, no matter what, the battle is already won. We win. Go through a lot of losses, but the final outcome is we win. So I just wanted to make that known, because some experiences of life were sent into your life to throw you off balance, to knock you off track, to send you down the wrong path, to make you forget who you are. But he's reminding us of who we are, because who we are is directly related to who he is. We are nothing outside of him. And with him, there is nothing that he cannot do. So middle school, ages 6 through 8. Ages 10 through 13, grades 6 through 8. I was in sports. I played basketball, volleyball, and I ran track for my middle school team. In volleyball and track, I excelled. In basketball, although I had played with these same group of girls in our little dribblers league and won the state championship as one of the leaders on that team, my middle school coach did not see the same thing that my little dribblers coach saw. And the confidence that I once had was now being shaken a little bit, because this is my first experience with being told that I wasn't good at something. It was eye-opening. It made me work harder, but it did shake my confidence a little, because again, I played basketball with these same group of young ladies and was a standout athlete, and then was told I wasn't ready, or I wasn't, those famous words, I wasn't good enough to play. But volleyball, I stood out. Exceptional athlete. In track, I was an exceptional athlete. I was an honor student. I was on honor roll. I was doing well in church. I was now in the youth choir or the youth department instead of the children's department. And now I'm being introduced through middle school and church setting to kids that are older than I am. The only kids that I had ever been around that were older than me previously were my cousins. But now in school, I am now 10, but I'm in a class of, 10 through 13 where there are 13 and 14-year-olds in the same school setting that I'm in, on the same team that I'm on. And that was eye-opening because now I'm learning things and hearing things from older children that I've never experienced before. I was able to hang with older kids that went to my church and spend the night at certain houses. My mother was still very cautious about whose house, at least I thought, she was allowing me to stay at. So if it wasn't a relative, I was still able to go stay at my best friend's house, Denise. I was not able to stay the night at my father's house. I stayed the night at my grandmother's house, but for some reason, I was not allowed to stay the night at my father's house, my biological dad. My mother was against it. Well, one day, while she was at work, I think she was working 3 to 11 shift, my grandmother told me I could stay the night. So I had spent all afternoon and that evening with my dad and my siblings and my stepmom, his wife, and was actually enjoying myself when my mother got off that night. She came to my father's house, knocked on the door, and demanded that I leave. Yeah. It was always this unsettling feeling when it came to my dad. I wanted desperately to be a daddy's girl. My dad, I do have memories with my dad from childhood, riding on the motorcycle with him. He allowed me to ride on horses with him. We played basketball in the yard with my dad, my brother and I. My dad was involved, like even through sports. My dad was there, but I had this sense of not knowing if he was there for me or if he was there for the other children. And a lot of people would say that's not important. Yes, it is. I wanted to know that I was important to my dad, that my dad loved me as an individual. And there was always this constant interference when it came to me and my dad's relationship. My dad had a nickname for me. He would call me Shrimp. I'm assuming because I was little. Not short, but little, just tiny. And my mom had a problem with that as well. She took offense to that. I don't know why. This just called, and I'm explaining this so that you as a parent out there can understand that whatever goes on between you and the other parent, as long as it's not directly related to the child, should stay between you guys. There should be no conflict created between the child and the parent at the hands of the other parent. The child should not be alienated from another parent if that child is in no risk of being abused or harmed. That child should be allowed a relationship with the other parent. The hurt that goes on between the two adults should not be a penalty that's passed down to the child. It creates a sense of dysfunction because even now, at the age of 46, I know more about my mom's side of the family, and there's a big gap when it comes to my dad, his side of the family. Yes, I know them. Yes, I was around my grandparents, but it's parts of myself that I was neglected to learn about because of the issues that stem between the adults in my life, my parents and their spouses. That's traumatizing for a child because it messes with the identity of who you are. You were created by the Most High through two individuals. You have two sides of that DNA. And you need to know both sides to understand who you are, because there are DNA markers that you're going to eventually deal with, and who's going to help you deal with them other than the family. So that was that. More trauma, dysfunction, feeling disconnected. I went through a phase of not knowing where I fit in, not knowing who I was, being the outcast. I was teased because, like most people, the clothes I wore were different. I looked different. My hair wasn't done right. The typical middle school things that affect the child affected me. And the one place where I had that confidence, which was in sports, was also being tested as well. Middle school is a hard 3 years. So for you parents out there who have children in middle school who are trying to find a sense of belonging, please take the time to talk to your children. Please allow yourself to be open to their concerns and not consider things just that's normal. What's normal for one child is not normal for another child. And a lot of times, part of our identity is going to be associated to that middle school age, which is now grooming us into who we're going to be in our teenage years. Our friendship circles, where we fit in at, being picked, being chosen, being part of something. All this matters to children. In middle school, I did not have a sense of belonging. Just with a very, very small group of people, I never felt like I fit in. And I began to lean onto the things that I was good at to fill that void of not fitting in. The one thing I learned in that age group was we had an assignment asked by our English teacher. We had to write about what's one thing about ourselves that we loved. And I searched and searched and searched and searched and searched. And the only thing I liked about myself, or that I truly loved and found different, were my eyes. It was something about my eyes that intrigued me. I was always looking into my own eyes. And until today, it's one of the features that I'm confident in. And I now know it's the light from my eyes, the way I see life. I love the way I see life. I love that I see it with a positive outlook, that I have a genuine love for people and humanity, for nature. I love that I try to see the best in people, even when they can't. It's my eyes. But I was always teased about my pointed nose because in my mom's family, their noses weren't pointed, but on my dad's side it was. I was always teased about my little lips, that I didn't even have lips. Just different things that to other people they're like, that's normal. But what that does, and my hair. At a young age, my mom started using chemicals in my hair. The first was a Jerry curl, which burned my scalp and took some of my hair out. I think I was in elementary school when that happened, because I had a Jerry curl even in middle school. And then I was teased about that because of the greasiness of it. And it just leaves a mark on a kid. It gives them a sense of not being good enough. Somebody's always trying to change something about me because they don't have the patience to tend to me just the way I am. And that's middle school. I just wanted to cover the basis of that. There's a 12-year-old experience that I'm going to talk about that in my next video that I've only shared once, and that was in the past couple weeks. I've never shared this experience with anyone, but it was definitely a marker in my life that I'm going to share. So please stay tuned. I pray that you begin talking about the things that made you insecure, so that you can somehow take off the mask. There was a time I would have never been in front of a camera like this, but I know who I am outside of these things now. And I know that the message that I need to present is important. Please stay tuned as we continue this journey of healing.